What kind of damned mission is this? What kind of damned mission is this? Can I pick it up? This mission did not give Long Fei any chance, and directly forced him to accept it. Moreover, right after the notification sound finished, a task countdown appeared in Long Fei's mind. 1 hour, 1,000 snow monster. Damn you, are you trying to play me to death? Long Fei's scalp went numb. Just now, when he killed a snow monster, he could already feel how strong these snow monster were. Killing one wouldn't even take a minute, let alone killing 1,000 in an hour. It was impossible. Huff. All right. Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief. If I fail the mission, then you have to deduct 1 million experience points from me. So be it. A voice rang out. Long Fei moved. Enchanted. 1,000 points disappeared. Long Fei had become a sky demon, and the current sky demon was completely different from the previous one. The devilish flames on the sky demon's body were burning crazily, and the power of the God's Bone taboo was spreading from its entire body. Also, this was the side effect of cultivating the God's Bone taboo. Demon sword, come out. Swish. As the devil's sword fell, Long Fei shouted in his heart, kill. The devil's sword combined with the devil body and the power of the God's Bone taboo. The devil fire on its body was several meters tall, and its appearance was extremely terrifying. The demon's sword slashed down. The snow monster's head was directly chopped off. Long Fei shouted, shaking the heavens, wake up all the snow monster. Killing one at a time is too slow. It was impossible to kill in an hour. Mighty One's enormous body charged out crazily, causing all the snow monster within 100-mile radius to wake up from their stupor. It was only a few hundred snow monster. Huff. Whatever, I'll kill one if I can. Long Fei rushed out with big strides. With the devil's sword in one hand and the dragon salure in the other, he slaughtered crazily. No defense, only attack. After 10 minutes had passed, Long Fei had only killed 50 of them. Half an hour passed, 180, 10 minutes passed, and the number jumped from 1 to 250. Long Fei had no experience with these 250 because he wouldn't be able to obtain the experience of these demon beastess until the mission was completed. Only 20 minutes left. Long Fei was sweating profusely. He only had 10 spirit burst pill left, and that was only because the fairy stone root was constantly releasing its power of celestial. Otherwise, the spirit burst pill would have been exhausted. No way. Too slow. Even if you give me 3 more hours, I still won't be able to complete it. And Long Fei looked at his surroundings. Fuck, there aren't even 1,000 snow monster. How am I supposed to kill them? System, damn you, this isn't how to scam others. Roar. At this moment, a snow monster pounced over. Long Fei slashed out, shouted, and said, die. After cutting off one of his arms, Long Fei moved swiftly and leaped into the air. The devil's sword in his hand ignited with gravity as he swung the sword downwards. Rumble! The snow monster was killed immediately. The perfect gravity knife also caused the entire mountainside to tremble violently, deep within the valley. Rumble! Rumble! A large chunk of white snow fell, followed by the sound of snow collapsing from all directions. Long Fei's eyes shook as he muttered, damn, an avalanche! An avalanche! He looked up and saw that the mountain peak was like a massive wave. White waves rolled over and crazily smashed down, covering the sky and covering the earth, as if it was destroying the world. It's over! Long Fei's eyes became misty as he muttered, I've never even seen a snowy mountain in my previous life, yet I'm going to die under an avalanche this entire life. This is too **King stupid. Suddenly, Yen Huang Ancestor suddenly said, Brat, this is not an avalanche. Not an avalanche. Long Fei was startled and asked, "What is that?" The scene was exactly the same as the avalanche in the movie. Yan Huang Ancestor asked, "Take a closer look. What are the falling snow?" Long Fei's gaze tightened as he looked over seriously. Immediately, his expression changed abruptly as he said, "Snow monster. The overwhelming snow monster would be worse than an avalanche." At first, Long Fei clamored that there were no snow monster. Now, the avalanche was not made of snow, but the snow monster, an existence that covered the sky and the earth. Long Fei's mind moved. Instantly reverting back to his original form, he shouted, "Golden Dragon Protector!" Boom, boom, boom. 8 rumbling sounds could be heard. Long Fei's body was covered in a thick layer of golden color. This was the Golden Dragon Master's defense. Once the dragon salure appeared, Long Fei's eyes became sinister as he said, "Damn, then let's have a good fight." Without waiting for the snow monster to come down, Long Fei used his rear legs and rushed forward with all his might. Kill. Upgrade. Long Fei needed experience, a lot of experience. There aren't many task reward, but 1,000 snow monster was equivalent to 10 million experience points, which could be leveled up directly. The level was very important. If he wanted to take first place in this assessment, he would have to break through to a higher level. God Emperor Academy, Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, Pan Clan. They were all crushing Long Fei. Only by becoming stronger would he be able to crush them all back. Ah! Long Fei roared. His right hand holding onto the dragon's salure tightly, he suddenly raised it and shouted out, "Hurricane slash!" Shwa! At the same time, he swept up a few snow monster, and Long Fei shouted, "Dragon chop! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh!" If he encountered a snow monster were sliced into pieces by Long Fei. If he encountered a boss, he would drop it. However, the most important moment now was to complete the 100 snow monster missions. As soon as Feier appeared, she floated silently in the air and chanted something, as if she was an elf mage. Suddenly, the sky rumbled for a while before splitting apart. A beam of light exploded from her body, linking to the splitting sky. Crack! Billions of volts of electricity exploded, instantly spreading out and forming a huge semicircle ball that spread out, covering a radius of 5 kilometers. Power of thunder, listen to my call. Billions of volts, boom. Feier said softly, and the lightning from the light wave lightning field began to wreak havoc. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The incomparably thick lightning bolts seemed as though they could destroy the heavens and the earth. It was also at this moment. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Snow Monster, number +1. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Snow Monster, number +1. Ding, ding, ding. The feeling of a system beep exploding in his head could only be described by one word. Hai Tian Tian Tian. Table of contents. Those snow monster roared crazily as they charged at Xiang Longfei crazily. However, before they could even rush up, they were struck by lightning and flung flat on the ground. On the hillside, the snow monster king's face was filled with rage, constantly striking the ground, releasing wave after wave of angry roars. Incomparable rage. Long Fei began to laugh and said, "Grandson, come over if you dare. I'll chop you into pieces. Ha ha ha." Boom, boom. The lightning continued, and the number of people continued to soar. 10 minutes later, the number of demon beasts killed amounted to 900. There were only 100 remaining to complete the mission. Long Fei felt extremely emotional. If I had another 100 more, I would have gained 10 million experience points and broke through the spiritual Levy 6 in an instant. Ha! 1 hour and 1 night. I'm only going to ask, who else is there? Who can do that? Pan Sheng from Sky Separating Clan. Long Fei laughed in disdain. Even though the spiritual level was only a low-level existence of immortal domain, but even if it was the elders of the god Emperor Academy S, they were only mad immortals or virtual immortals stage. To be able to break through a level in an hour, this sort of speed was even more monstrous than that of a freak. Ding, ding, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Snow Monster. The current number is 938. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Snow Monster. The current number is 939. 5 minutes passed. The system beep also slowed down. At this time, most of the snow monster in the lightning field had already died, and those that weren't dead had already escaped as if they had gone mad. They no longer dared to attack Xiang Longfei, as this fellow was simply abnormal. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Snow Monster. The current number is 998. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Snow Monster. The current number is 999. That was the end of the beep. Fair also became extremely weak as she said, "Master, I've used up all of my energy. I need to rest and recharge myself." With that, he entered the pearl. Long Fei felt his heart ache when he saw Fair's weak expression and said, "Rest well. There's only one snow monster left. There are still 5 minutes left, so it shouldn't be a problem." However, Long Fei was stunned because he could no longer see any snow monster around him other than the one on the hillside. Killing the snow monster was no problem. However, you have to kill them too. Now that all the snow monster were gone, how could he kill them? Damn! He's not letting me live at all. He's only missing one more head. Long Fei muttered. He was extremely unhappy as he muttered, "This is the tempo of someone trying to trick me to death." Long Fei looked at the snow monster king on the hillside and said in his heart, fiercely, "I'm going all out." Following that, Long Fei shouted, "Grandson, grandfather is here. Do you want to take revenge for your disciple? Come on, come and kill me. Come if you dare. Are you F*** king, a female snow monster king? Watching your own little brother being killed without even daring to fart, are you still considered a snow monster? It's even worse than a pile of dog shit." Long Fei activated his taunting mode. The pattern was simple. As long as the snow monster king had any intelligence, it would be enraged and rush towards him. The mountain slope was too far away, so if he wanted to rush up, he would need at least 3 minutes. On the other hand, if the snow monster king were to rush down, he could at most use up to half a minute. "Damn it, I don't believe that I can anger you," Long Fei said confidently. It was as he had expected. The snow monster king was enraged. He pounded his chest with both hands and let out an earth-shaking roar. He then rushed down the hill like a madman. Roars rang out in the valley. The entire snowy region was in an uproar as well. Long Fei looked at the value of the power of Celestial and saw one spirit burst pill entering his body. He muttered in his heart, "There are still 9 left." He watched as the snow monster king rushed up the slope at an incredible speed. Long Fei let out a heavy breath. Phew! The HP of normal snow monster was 10,000 points. His strength and speed were not weak. From his estimation, this boss should be at least 10 levels higher. If these snow monster were immortal domain 4-rating monster and beasts, then this snow monster king should be at least level 6. Just by relying on Long Fei's own strength, he was completely incapable of it. However, he wanted to give it a try. What is the limit of the 5th level of the psionic immortal realm? He wanted to know. Immediately, Long Fei moved and said, "Golden Dragon Protector, return!" The golden light receded from the surface of his body, but they were still protecting Long Fei, and their mission was to ensure that Long Fei would not die. His right hand holding onto the dragon, Salyer, tightly, Long Fei's blood was boiling as he said, "Come." At this moment, the Snow Monster King suddenly pounced forward. With a movement of its body, it was like a gigantic snowball smashing down towards Long Fei. Walala! The cold wind that fell from the sky was like a thin willow leaf blowing on his face. It left a bloody mark as a huge black shadow pressed down on him. Roar! The Snow Monster King let out a furious roar, and its falling speed increased. Long Fei's heart trembled. Fuck, you're planning to smash me into a meat patty? All right, then let's see if you can crush me into a meat patty, or if I can stab your ass. Long Fei moved his left hand and took out the Thunder God gun. A 2-meter-long Thunder God gun could only stab into its chrysanthemum before exploding with lightning. That tempo! Hiss! Long Fei shuddered. Just thinking about it made him excited. Baidu search, half afloat thus. Long Fei did not leave. Instead, he stared unwaveringly at the Snow Monster King that was pressing down from the sky. He remained as unmoving as a mountain, and his heart had become a little nervous. The Azure Dragon ancestor shouted, "Gold Dragon, quickly protect the boss. If anything happens to the boss, I'll cut off your claws." Golden Dragon Master said, "Don't worry, as long as I am here, boss won't die." First, 8_8419/23570024. My body is about to split open. Long Fei forcefully suppressed the blood and qi in his chest and said solemnly, "I want to fight you head on. Bring it on." Boom. He rushed forward once again, but this time he dealt even more damage. He was sent flying again. Attack again. Again. Long Fei's desperate attack technique was like a 7-wound fist, heavily injuring his opponent and also himself. This was also Long Fei's way. The path of never retreating. Time passed by second. An hour was almost up. Long Fei stood up again from within the snow, and his entire body was covered in blood. Staring at the Snow Monster King that was also covered in blood not too far away. The corner of Long Fei's mouth slightly moved. As soon as he finished, the dragon Salyer in Long Fei's hands moved. Roar! Ancestor of Dark Dragon God roared. Long Fei moved as though he was flying. Moonlit step. Shwa! It was too fast. He directly leaped up to the top of the Snow Monster King's head. This was a place that the Snow Monster King's arm couldn't reach, and was also a dead end for him. This was something that Long Fei had tested after using dozens of times of experience of being slapped flying. "It's here." The Snow Monster King patted, and indeed, it did not hit Long Fei. Long Fei held onto his blade with both hands, and chopped down like a war axe. Dark Dragon God slash. Harvest. Ding. System notification. Dark Dragon God killed him instantly. Long Fei's heart trembled. He was excited. "You bastard. Explode." Second 8_8419/23570025. What he was worried about now was not the mission, but his time. He was still in God Emperor Academy's assessment. Every examination had a time limit. If he were to pass it, he would be considered a failure. Moreover, he was one of the examinees in this manual, so he had no idea what was going on. More importantly, how long would it take for him to take the examination? No one told him, just by allowing him to enter the Secret Realms exam. The Elder's eyes seemed to say, "You don't need to know the time because you will die inside." There was no doubt that this was sky-separating clans doing. "I don't care. Since we're going on a mission, there's no reason for us not to do it." Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief. He couldn't care so much, and the grade of this quest was getting higher and higher. Maybe there were some secrets hidden within this secret skill, or a secret treasure. First, do the tasks. I'm thinking about the assessment. Actually, what Long Fei did not know was that each of the secret realms had different time limits. The time limits inside the secret realms were different from the time laws outside. It could be 1 minute in the secret realm, but 1 day would pass outside. It was also possible that the day in the secret realm would only be a minute outside. The 5-level secret territory that Long Fei was in had a time ratio of 5. 1. 5 minutes inside, 1 minute outside. He had been in the secret realm for an hour, and it had only been a few minutes. Although he didn't know what was happening outside the secret realm, he could feel the powerful fluctuations emanating from it. Ha ha! That kid is probably dead. I think it's about the same. The 5-level secret territory, the snow region of endless ice. Even if we enter it, we won't be able to escape death, let alone a spiritual level warrior. Pan, who smiled slightly, and said, "The 2 elders have done quite well. I will report this to the young master. Also, about the examination of our sky-separating clan's disciples. Elder Hu, don't worry. The disciples of Sky-Separating Clan are all extremely talented. With their cultivation, entering the God Emperor Academy is just a matter of words." An elder tried to curry favor with him. The secret realm they are in is the simplest of places. They will probably be out in a few minutes. They must be the first disciples to be qualified. Pan, who smiled slightly and said, "Very good." Demon Slayer shook the world. The Sky-Separating Clan rose to power. Some of the elders of God Emperor Academy wanted to kneel down and lick Sky-Separating Clan. Moreover, the people of Sky-Separating Clan also entered the lowest level secret realm in front of everyone. No one dared to stop them, and even more so, no one dared to say anything, because they were the disciples of the Sky-Separating Clan. There was no fairness in front of them. They were only fairness. What? Qiu Wandao was crazy. Qiu Wandao was crazy. However, Pan, who was even more arrogant and did not cower at all, he would definitely not let anyone have the chance to save Long Fei. Qiu Wandao was the same. Qiu Wandao's eyes were filled with anger, and he said solemnly, "Others are afraid of your Sky-Separating Clan, but I am not." Pan, who sneered and said, "Other people are afraid of you, Qiu Wandao, but so am I." Qiu Wandao, do you know your current identity? What rights do you have to become an open secret realm? What qualifications do you have to order the elders of the God Emperor Academy? What are you? You are just the former principal. Listen up. You are the former principal. Pan, who said very arrogantly, he had long since known that Qiu Wandao would intervene, and he had prepared everything for her. In the past, when the Pan clan had been oppressed, one of the most important reasons was that they had not been prepared. He would definitely not give Long family any more chances. Pan, who sneered, "Qiu Wandao, what do you think is bad for you? Why do you have to be the Long family's dog?" "How dare you? Why should I?" Qiu Wandao was instantly enraged. The thick flames of qi around his body roared like a fierce tiger. His gaze was gloomy as he stared at Pan, who, and shouted, "Today, I will let you know why I am doing this." Yi Zichen moved his hands. Boom, boom. Explosions were constantly produced in the air. Then, Qiu Wandao punched towards Pan, who, the corner of Pan, whose mouth curled up slightly, revealing a pleased and cold smile. He did not move, nor did his aura fluctuate at all. His eyes were filled with disdain and pride. He had no intention of retaliating. It was as if everything was as he had expected. Just as Qiu Wandao's fist was about to land, a thick and ancient energy rushed out like an ancient mammoth. "Stop! Rumble!" A loud sound blocked Qiu Wandao's power. Qiu Wandao retreated back, his face darkened. Zhang Tianai, God Emperor Academy, the current principal, Zhang Tianai, he was also his junior. Moreover, ever since he had taken over the God Emperor Academy, he had received great attention from the Heavenly Hall of Immortal Zess, giving him a lot of cultivation resources. In these past few years, his cultivation had been even more unfathomable. Zhang Tianai walked out, carrying with him a few sounds of giant elephant trampling, and said, "Senior brother, enough!" Qiu Wandao's brows tightened as he looked at Pan, whose complacent face. He muttered in his heart, "How insidious!" Pan, who already knew Qiu Wandao's temperament. If they didn't say anything, they would start fighting. Thus, he had already sent people to invite Zhang Tianai, all to let him see, all to make Qiu Wandao look bad. Qiu Wandao said slightly, "Since you call me senior brother, then you will order to open the gate to the secret realm and use the 5-level secret territory for the examination. Have you thought about the consequences?" Zhang Tianai said slightly, "Consequences? The consequences are what I should have thought, not what you should have thought. I'm sorry. If the realm of endless ice closes, then it will be impossible to open. Unless the people inside can come out alive, then it will be impossible to open this mystic realm gate again." Qiu Wandao's brows tightened and said, "Do you take me for a fool?" Zhang Tianai said, "I am not sure if you are an idiot or not, but the Academy has its own rules. You should be clear on this point. Don't talk nonsense with me about rules. Now, can I ask if you can use the open secret realms door?" Qiu Wandao said. Zhang Tianai said resolutely, "No." Qiu Wandao exhaled deeply. His tone suddenly changed as he pleaded, "Junior brother, just consider it as me begging you." "Please" came out of Qiu Wandao's mouth. This was the first time. Zhang Tianai was shocked, because Qiu Wandao never begged others. Even if the biggest one was him, he would never beg others. It was the first time he heard Qiu Wandao say the word, "please." He was shocked. At the same time, he was thinking in his heart, what is the relationship between him and that kid from Long family? He shouldn't have any relation to the Long family at all. Why is he begging for someone for the sake of the brat from the Long family? It was also at this time Pan who laughed coldly. "You need to look like you're begging others. Are you begging others?" Zhang Tianya's heart trembled. Cluck, cluck. Qiu Wandao clenched both of his fists tightly. With a loud popping sound, he kneeled on the ground, looked at Zhang Tianai, and said, "Junior brother, I beg of you, open secret realms gate to let me in." "Kneel down." Zhang Tianai was even more shocked in his heart. He actually kneeled down for the sake of the Long family brat. One had to know. Back then, when he was facing the supreme god of Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, he did not kneel, but he actually kneeled for Long Fei. The shock in his heart was indescribable. "Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha." Pan, who laughed complacently, he pointed at Qiu Wandao, who was kneeling on the ground, and laughed. "Did you see that?" The previous headmaster knelt down. "Ha ha." The few elders beside him burst out in laughter. Zhang Tianya's voice sunk as he shouted, "Enough!" A pleased, cold smile still hung on Pan, whose face, as he thought in his heart, "Young master is indeed young master. Everything is within his expectations." Zhang Tianai slightly said, "Open secret realm." Qiu Wandao was his senior brother. Putting that aside, just by the fact that he was the previous principal of God Emperor Academy, Su Yun had to respect him. Pan, who followed, "Great principal, I'm afraid this won't do, right?" Zhang Tianai glared and said, "Pan, who, you're meddling in too many things. If something happens, I'll bear the responsibility." Pan, who smiled slightly and said, "It's not that I care too much. It's just that, Chief Dean, you should know what you're doing. You should know that you should stand over there and not ruin your future just because of a decision." Zhang Tianai was angry in his heart, and at the same time, he was weighing the pros and cons, seeing the pleading look in great Qiu Wandao's eyes. He still said, "I know what I'm doing very well. Open secret realm." That elder who was in charge of managing the secret realm did not dare to hesitate and walked forward. At this moment, Pan, who laughed coldly and said, "Wait." Zhang Tianai asked, "Pan who? What else do you want to do?" Pan, who took out an order badge from his chest pocket and laughed, "I don't want to do anything. I just want to say, no one is allowed to enter open secret realm." Holy token question of God. Zhang Tiany's face darkened. Qiu Wandao's expression also abruptly changed. Pan, who laughed complacently, "Not bad, not bad. You still recognize holy token question of God. With this immortal token, I can abolish you the great principle of God Emperor Academy." But I didn't want to. And then, Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life strongest upgrade system Pan, who shouted coldly, "Whoever dares to go against Hall of Immortals, whoever goes against him, you all know the consequences." The holy token question of God was equivalent to the supreme God's imperial edict. Whoever dared to disobey would be chased by all the rancors in Hall of Immortals. No one could escape. Fourth, 8_8419/2357027. Holy token question of God, supreme. Holy token question of God, supreme. The surrounding elders didn't dare to move. They all knew what this meant. Zhang Tiany's brows tightened and said faintly, "Could it be Pan Sheng has already been made a true disciple of the supreme God, other than the supreme God himself? Only a true disciple would have a holy token question of God." Qiu Wandao's mind suddenly shook. Pan, who laughed complacently at Zhang Tianai, "That's right. My young master is indeed a successor disciple of the supreme God. He is the first demon slayer, and is also the world's most talented warrior. Before long, he will still be the successor to the heavenly hall of immortals. Zhang Tianai, you should know how to stand there now, right?" This time, Pan, who directly called him by his name, incomparably pleased with himself and incomparably arrogant. They did not place Qiu Wandao in their eyes at all. Qiu Wandao's heart was also thumping loudly. "I never thought that I would actually become a successor disciple of the supreme God. Seems like I have underestimated the sky-separating clan and have underestimated Pan Sheng." The personalities of true disciples and ordinary disciples were completely different. A true disciple would pass down all their abilities to him. And furthermore, there was a 90% chance that he would become the successor of the Tongtian Hall of Immortals. Once Pan Sheng becomes the successor, it didn't matter if it was the Tongtian Hall of Immortals or the God Emperor Academy, the entire immortal domain, or even the entire continent would have to listen to his orders. It only took half a month. Sky-separating clan almost stood at the peak of this world. Pan Sheng was one step up to the sky. Zhang Tiany's eyes became quiet as he said to Qiu Wandao, "Senior brother, I am also powerless. I'm sorry." Qiu Wandao's mind tensed up. He could not blame Zhang Tianai for this matter. His authority was not enough to surpass all the other heavenly hall of immortals. Pan, who laughed complacently and said, "Qiu Wandao, do you want the open secret realm? Beg me. Kneel down and beg me. Weren't you the one who did not bow to the heavens and did not kneel to the earth? If you kneel down and kowtow a few times to make me happy, maybe I will learn the open secret realm." Ha ha ha. Pan, who laughed complacently. Qiu Wandao's face was ashen. If possible, he really wanted to punch him in the head. However, no. Pan, who looked at Qiu Wandao's ashen face and laughed even more complacently. "Weren't you kneeling just now pretty good? Kneel down and take a look." Qiu Wandao's expression was extremely gloomy. Pan, who sneered coldly. When young master was in Thunder Mountains, he said that anyone who had connections with the Long family would be suppressed. You want the open secret realm to save that trash? Then kneel down and beg me. It was very, 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 very. The few elders around him also looked at Qiu Wandao with disdain, all waiting to see him make a fool of himself. Qiu Wandao bent his legs slightly, the anger in his heart surging, but thinking about Long Fei and thinking about the dangers of the snow region of extreme ice, he decided to give it his all. Plop! He heavily kneeled on the ground. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Pan, who laughed complacently and said, Did you see that? Did you see that? God Emperor Academy's previous principal kneeled down to me. Ha ha! Kowtow! Kowtow! Pan, who said proudly, Cow! Bam! Qiu Wandao heavily smashed down, a mark appearing on his forehead. Pan, who said, One is not enough, and if it is not loud, we will kowtow again. Bam! He heavily knocked on the ground again, and the stone was broken. His forehead was cracked, and fresh blood flowed out. It's enough now, open secret realm. Lets me in. Pan, who laughed even more complacently, he pointed at Qiu Wandao's face and said, If I tell you to kowtow, just kowtow. If I tell you to eat shit, do you eat sh*T2? Open secret realm? Ha ha ha. Dream on. Not only will he die inside, everyone else who is related to him will also die in the secret realm. We want to return what Long family did to our Pan clan 100 times, 1,000 times more. Ha ha! Pan, who laughed madly. He had never thought of taking the open secret realm. He wanted Long Fei to die inside the secret realm. Qiu Wandao was furious. Furious, Pan, who instantly stood up. With a single step, a powerful force crushed towards Pan, who, like a landslide, Pan, whose face darkened as he became deathly pale. His cultivation was not as good as Qiu Wandao's, and he could not withstand such a strong pressure. Plop! Pan, who kneeled down heavily. His kneecap was about to crack, and was in incomparable pain as he shouted, Qiu Wandao, are you trying to rebel? Your father wants to rebel. What's wrong? Qiu Wandao roared angrily as his fist directly struck the top of Pan, whose head, saying, No one dares to tease me, including the gods. The aura on his body was too terrifying. Like an angry lion, it opened its mouth and bit down at Pan, who was so scared that his entire body was trembling, and urine came out of his pants. He was scared to the point of peeing, and immediately shouted, Block him for me! Block him for me! Zhang Tianai, block him for me! I command you! Pan, whose mind was filled with fear. He did not expect Qiu Wandao to be a complete madman. He actually dared to act this way when facing the holy token question of God. If he was not a madman, what else could he be? Zhang Tianya's expression was very complicated. When Qiu Wandao's fist was still 1 centimeter away from Pan, whose head, his aura suddenly moved. Roar! The power of the ancient giant elephant burst out, blocking Qiu Wandao's strength. Senior brother, calm down! Boom! The two forces collided, and a loud sound echoed in the air. The surrounding elders started to tremble from this force. They were unable to withstand it. Qiu Wandao shouted out, I can't calm down. His body suddenly blurred, disappeared. This time, Pan, whose poop was exposed. Madman, it's a madman. Zhang Tianai, kill him for me, kill him. The instant Qiu Wandao's figure disappeared, Zhang Tianya's strength also followed closely behind him. He blocked behind Pan, and used both of his palms to welcome him, saying once again, Senior brother, calm down. You have committed a grave mistake. Qiu Wandao's palms trembled. For palms met. Bang, bang, bang. Explosions erupted around him. If it were not for Zhang Tianya's protection, Pan, whose bones would have already shattered. Pan, who was so scared that he laid on the ground trembling. He had never been this scared before. Qiu Wandao was completely crazy. Qiu Wandao shouted, If you make a big mistake, you will make a big mistake. Who have I been afraid of in my entire life? This dog dares to tease me? I must make him pay. His temper was violent. The more he was teased, the more irritable he became. So what if it was a holy token question of God? Even if it was the supreme God who came down, he would still strike them down. Caret, half, /float asterisk, life. Zhang Tianya's heart sank. If Pan who was killed, then Qiu Wandao would definitely be hunted down by the heavenly hall of immortals. He was very clear on the methods used by the star spirit hunters. No matter how strong Qiu Wandao was, he could not escape. Senior brother, calm down. Zhang Tianyi used his full strength. He would not stop until he had crushed Qiu Wandao. 5th, 8_84 19/2357028. If Pan who died, then Qiu Wandao would also be dead. If Pan who died, then Qiu Wandao would also be dead. And then Zhang Tianya's entire body released the power of the ancient giant elephant, the 9th level gigantic elephant shock in prison. Open for me. Roar. A huge elephant roared within his body. A powerful pressure descended from the skies, directly crushing all the surrounding trees and causing them to explode. The thick trees were all crushed to the ground. The giant elephant's power was too strong. Qiu Wandao's mind also sunk. His body felt like it was buried in sand, and he did not release any of his strength. Zhang Tianyi quickly said, "Senior brother, calm down, calm down. Even if you kill him, you won't be able to do it. You can't save that brat from Long family. The snow region of extreme ice is too dangerous, and the 5-level secret territory is very vast as well. Even if you enter, you won't be able to find him. What's more, just now, there was a strong fluctuation in the secret realm. He should already be dead." Zhang Tianyi said anxiously. Qiu Wandao was still trying his best to struggle free, but in terms of cultivation, his strength was not as strong as Zhang Tianyi's. Furthermore, he had already reached the 9th level of the ancient giant elephant immortal root. Qiu Wandao roared, "If Long Fei dies, then he must die too." Seeing Qiu Wandao being crushed by Zhang Tianyi, Pan Hu scrambled to get up. Standing far away, he scolded, "Qiu Wandao, you fucking lunatic. You actually dare to look down on the heavenly hall of immortals. Just you wait. Just wait and be hunted." Zhang Tianyi shouted, "Hurry up and leave. I can't suppress you anymore." Hearing that, Pan Hu's face turned white, his legs became weak, and he immediately said to the elders, "Go, let's go." "Qiu Wandao, I will definitely not be an open secret realm." Even if Long family didn't die just now, he wouldn't be able to struggle for long. Finished. Pan, who crazily escaped as his, but flowed out of his crotch in an extremely sorry state. Seeing Pan Hu walk far away, Zhang Tianyi's breath relaxed, and his body fiercely bounced back as well. He staggered backwards as he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was forcefully suppressing Qiu Wandao. so once he relaxed his aura, even if his body suffered from the backlash from the immense power, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. With a loud boom, he rushed out from beside Xiao Wandao. He wanted to chase up to him, but when he saw Zhang Tianai spitting out a mouthful of blood, he said, "Junior brother." Zhang Tianya's face slightly paled and said weakly, "Senior brother, stop chasing. Even if you kill him, it won't help. There's still Pan Sheng in Sky-separating clan. He's a direct disciple of the Supreme God, and you yourself have made the Heavenly Hall of Immortals unhappy. If you anger them again, what happens to you?" He didn't say it out loud. Xiao Wandao looked at Zhang Tianai and said, "You are now the principal, and your situation is even more dangerous than mine, so you should be careful." And then Xiao Wandao's figure blurred and disappeared into the forest. What happened today made him even more certain that the Pan family would definitely take the Long family as their leader, and they would do it very quickly. If Long Fei died, then the next one will be the Long family of the South Horizon region. This time, the Pan family will definitely uproot Long family. He had to make some preparations. He had to report this to his master. Achoo! Achoo choo! Long Fei sneezed 3 times consecutively and cursed, "Damn, who's scolding me behind my back? Am I too handsome? Or am I catching a cold?" Both of Long Fei's nose had been frozen over and was shivering from the cold. Furthermore, after the power of celestial value had dried up, he did not replenish it anymore. The pill was extremely important to him now, and he would not use it unless he had no other choice. "I should have kept more medicinal pills." Long Fei secretly cried out in his heart as he looked at the endless snowy mountain, muttering, "This F***er has already walked for nearly 2 hours. Where exactly is the frozen end country?" Long Fei had flipped over a snowy mountain, and now another one was Snow Mountain. Not to mention the frozen Snow Nation. He hadn't even seen a single snow monster yet, and he couldn't gain any experience at all. It was too hard. Another half an hour passed. Long Fei was truly unable to find it, and the system did not give any hint either. Standing at the foot of the hill, he looked around at the snow that was the same around him, and muttered, "Where exactly is the frozen end country?" Before he could finish his words, Long Fei took a step into the air, and his feet sank. Boom! His entire body fell to the ground. In that instant, his expression suddenly changed. The system sounded out, "Ding! The 6th chapter. To make up for this, thanks to our brothers for their support. 8_8419/23570029. A system notification rang out. A system notification rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the Search for the Snowy Ice Country quest. You have obtained 100,000 experience and 1,000 power of Celestial. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for coming into contact with the 3rd level's quest, Open the Frozen State. Mission level, time of mission, 1 hour. Task reward, 1,000 experience, 1,000 power of Celestial. Touch the 4th level of the quest, and open a channel for the Heart of Snow region. Another mission. None of these Long Fei was shocked. What he was shocked about was the scene in front of him. The incomparably huge city was just like the city located on a mountain in the movies of the Western world. However, it was sealed in ice. Everything was frozen in the ice. Activate the frozen nation. Break the gloom. Long Fei muttered to himself, "If the ice is frozen, will it destroy the kingdom's castle inside?" The layer of ice looked like it was sealed in ice, but the power of the ice contained a destructive power. When a person is frozen under absolute zero, with a light tap, the person would be smashed to smithereens. Even their bones would shatter. Not to mention humans, even steel would be frozen and shatter. If it's that simple, then it wouldn't be an A-grade mission. Long Fei immediately denied his thoughts. At this moment, Yan Huang Ancestor suddenly said, "This is an ice attribute seal technique." Seal. Long Fei was startled. "Patriarch, are you saying that you have the power of the seal, and that the royal city's seal is in this layer of ice?" Yan Huang Ancestor nodded his head and said, "That's right, and this seal technique is extremely ancient. It's truly strange. Ice attribute seal is extremely rare. Even in Chaos Realm it's rare. Why would it appear here?" Hearing Yan Huang Ancestor say this, Long Fei's heart sank a little, and he asked, "Ancestor, is there any way to remove it?" Yan Huang Ancestor pondered for a moment and said, "I haven't thought of it yet. I don't know much about the seal, but—" Yan Huang Ancestor glanced at Long Fei. Long Fei asked, "But what?" After a few more seconds of silence, the old patriarch finally did not say anything. Nothing. Actually, what he wanted to say was that the strongest seal master in the entire Sky Martial Continent came from the Long family, a sealing that could give 1,000,000 giant demons to the seal, and it was even using some kind of great sealing, and was able to borrow the power of the laws. Even he had never seen this kind of sealing before. The seal masters of the Long family were, without a doubt, extremely strong. However, Long Fei did not know about it himself. Yan Huang Ancestor did not say much. Long Fei looked at the city sealed in ice. "How do I unlock the seal? How do I unlock it?" He was in a hurry. Long Fei leapt up, held his breath, and stood on top of Yao Zhintian's head as he sank down as well. "Turn on the lights." Buzz. Wei Zhintian's eyes shone like searchlights. Long Fei's idea spread out. This was an unfamiliar domain. He had to be careful at all times. After consuming a spirit burst pill, the value of the power of Celestial instantly recovered. The lake was pitch black. Other than the place where the searchlight shone onto, it was like a huge abyss, an unfathomable abyss. Long Fei tightly held onto mighty heaven and continued to sink. The lower down they went, the narrower the space became, just like the Great Rift Valley. Suddenly, Wei Zhintian suddenly could not move. Boom, boom. Its body was too huge, and it was no longer able to dive further. It was stuck in the crevice. Long Fei withdrew his idea and returned him to the space ring. It was also at this time that he mocked and looked around, and discovered a place in the depths of the earth that looked like a 6-pointed star array in a flurry. Is that the eye of the seal? Long Fei immediately became excited and swam forward with all his might. At this moment, Baidu search. Half afloat Long Fei's body suddenly stopped because he felt a huge aura, a dangerous aura. Long Fei slowly turned his body, his head a little numb. Standing in front of him was a prehistoric monster. It looked just like a Godzilla. It stared at him with its 2 huge eyes. Guardian beast of the eye of the seal. First, 8_8419/2357030. His entire body was filled with a cruel aura. His entire body was filled with a cruel aura. 2 eyes stared at Long Fei, their pupils not moving at all. Very strong. Very big. How domineering. Long Fei's right hand moved slightly. In that moment, the Godzilla beast rushed forward and opened its mouth wide. Its sharp teeth were like many sharp thorns. If it was bitten, it would be cut in half at the waist. Holy **T. I'm not Ultraman. Why would I be so angry when I see him? Long Fei was dumbstruck in his heart, but his reaction was not slow. His right hand holding onto the dragon salyer, he retreated a few steps and shouted, "Do you think I'm afraid of you? Level 4, unparalleled. Open." Buzz. With 16 times the elemental energy released, Long Fei moved, holding onto the dragon salyer tightly. The power of the Thunder Immortal Foundation burst out. Crackle, crackle. The dragon Salyar's body flickered with a bit of lightning, and when the huge beast bit down, Long Fei heavily stepped down with his right foot. Moonlit step. Shwa. They directly flew to the top of the Godzilla's head, and Long Fei slashed down. Fury lightning, dragon god slash. Boom. A blade descended, slicing off a few pieces of the thick stone armor on his back. However, it wasn't hurt at all, only the missed damage. F***CK. What a strong defense. Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, the Godzilla swung its huge tail and smashed down fiercely like a mace. Golden Dragon Protector. Long Fei bellowed, wanting to dodge, but it was already too late. Buzz. At the same time, Long Fei did not retreat, but rushed forward instead. Your father does not believe that your defense is that strong. With that said, Long Fei raised his blade with both hands and chopped down at the instant his huge tail swung down. Bam! Boom! Long Fei was smashed away, and at the same time, the Godzilla's tail was chopped off by him. Woo! The Godzilla cried out in pain. Long Fei also did not feel good. Although he had the Golden Dragon Protector, the chi and blood under his chest were surging, and his internal organs were all moved. It was extremely uncomfortable. I'll take your life while you're sick. Long Fei tried his best to hold back as he moved. 7th level, form displacement transposition. Opening of the 7th floor of the sealed tracer steps. Long Fei's speed changed. His figure became unfathomable and couldn't be seen clearly at all. It landed below the Godzilla with the left hand of Thunder God Gun, the right hand of Dragon Slaying, and the mouth of the Devil's Sword. These 3 weapons were the strongest weapons that Long Fei had so far. Using the sword as a blade and a spear as a blade, his body sank slightly as the afterimages superimposed on each other. At the same time, he released a faint shout. 9 knives force. Upanishads. Ajura. 3 silhouettes, 3 heads and 6 arms, 9 blades. How can I complete it? Long Fei walked along the winding streets and looked at the surrounding buildings. It looked just like the architecture in the Western world in the Middle Ages. On both sides of the street, taverns and shops were available. Moreover, the goods in the shop were all placed in a neat and orderly manner without any mess. Long Fei looked at these and said lightly, if a calamity were to happen to this huge city, I'm afraid that everyone here would be taken away in an instant and either live or be killed. About half an hour later, Long Fei arrived at the highest point of the enormous city, which was also the palace of this city. The massive and towering imperial palace was filled with a domineering aura. The instant Long Fei stepped in, a system notification sound rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the quest Kill a Mage, Break the Soul Mirror, and Save the Citizens of Frozen End City. Mission level S. Quest time 2 hours. Task reward 100,000 experience, 10,000 power of Celestial Sacred Sword Heart. The system beep had just landed. A mass of black, colored flames floated out of the hall, and the space started to distort. Damn foreigners to actually come to my world. Then just die here. Her voice was gloomy and mournful, like a shrew that could not be satisfied. The black mist exploded from the throne, and a beautiful lady dressed in black sat there, with a staff in hand, staring at Long Fei with eyes filled with endless hatred. The staff in his hand trembled. Boom, boom. The 2 statues on both sides of the hall resurrected. The 4-meter-tall sculpture held its gigantic blade and slashed towards Long Fei. F***K. We'll do it the moment there's a disagreement. I didn't even say a word. Long Fei let out a disdainful snort, seeing the enormous blade in the sculpture's hand falling, his body slightly tilted to the side. Boom. A crack appeared in the ground. This power. Explosions. Long Fei frowned. The most venomous woman's heart is indeed, as you say. You want to kill me? Then I'll go first. When the dragon salyer in Long Fei's hands fell, Long Fei had also killed this kind of sculpture in the Thunder Dragon Temple. All he needed to do was to crush the sculpture's heart in his body. Immediately, Long Fei rushed over, thrusting the dragon salyer in his hand. With a shout, he shouted, "Break for me!" How sharp were the dragon salyer! The blade Qi alone had penetrated the statue's chest. However, it was not as Long Fei expected. The statue did not fall, and the giant axe in its hand swept towards him. Shwa! Bam! The giant axe struck the dragon salyer, and Long Fei shook violently. He was forced to continuously retreat due to the power exploding out of the sculpture. What a powerful strength! Long Fei frowned. Ha ha ha! Puny human, now you know my power. The beautiful woman laughed mockingly. You think you can save this city? Stop dreaming! The beautiful woman's staff once again released a black mist, and she said solemnly, "Kill him." Long Fei did not miss out on a single detail on her. Magic staff. The magic staff has control. Long Fei's heart stirred, and he immediately shouted, "Multiple shadows! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Asterisk, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Asterisk." The entire palace was filled with Long Fei's clones. You want to kill me? You think you're worthy? A large wave of clones blocked the giant statues, while another large wave of clones charged towards the beautiful woman. First, seize that staff in her hands. Illusion technique. The beautiful woman's eyes darkened as she started to chant, "Spirit of hell, listen to my call. Take these lowly creatures away." Boom! The staff in her hand glowed with a black light. Bang, bang, bang. Wherever the black light went, all avatars were killed. Equals semi/floating life plus. In just a short moment, all of the clones in the Great Hall had been instantly killed, causing Long Fei's body to sink as well. He continuously retreated as he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Damn, what kind of power is this? He couldn't get close. It was completely unable to approach her body. The power of the staff in her hand was too great. What should he do? Fourth, 8_8419/2357033. Congratulations to player Long Fei for slaying Woman of the Dead, for obtaining 10 experience points, Power of Celestial points, and Energy Values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Death Spirit power. You wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Death Spirit Blood Vein. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Death Spirit Magic Staff. The system's voice continued to ring out. Hearing the words undead staff, Fei suddenly asked, "Master, can you give this staff to me?" Long Fei was stunned for a moment, then said, "Of course you can." "Ancestor, did you hear that?" Hee hee. Fei smiled mischievously and said extremely excitedly, "Thank you, Master. This magical staff came from my elite family, but I don't know why it ended up here. Thank you, Master. Please let me summon the treasures of the elven tribe." Yan Huang Ancestor said helplessly, "I heard it, women are big shots. What is an old guy like me?" Long Fei, Ancestor, so it turns out you are also jealous. The Ancestor snorted and stopped talking. He was only teasing Long Fei. Just as Fei had said, this magic staff was indeed an old item of the elven race. No matter what, he wouldn't fight over it with Fei. It was also at this time. The staff also slowly transformed from being shrouded in darkness to being a holy light before finally flying into the air and heavily stabbing into the barrier behind the throne. Buzz, http:// the barrier shattered and the entire city was shaking. Following that, Streaks of light burst out and flew to every corner of the city. A woman dressed in white, exuding a sacred and holy aura that was above the mortal world, walked out. Her beauty was suffocating. Chapter 5, 8_8419/2357034. This woman was extremely beautiful. This woman was extremely beautiful. The beauty was indescribable. It was as if everything in the world would be ashamed of itself. The woman held onto the staff in her hand, and when she walked out, she bowed slightly and said respectfully to Long Fei, "Thank you, my king. You are the one who saved the city of endless ice. From now on, you are the king of this place. You are my king." At the same time, the spirits of the people on both sides of the hall were about to fall. All the officials kneeled down heavily and said, "We greet the king." Suddenly, Long Fei became the king. Moreover, Long Fei was shocked because he was not only the king of this city of ice, but also the king of that level of beauty. This meant that he could roll in the bed with that beauty and he could clap, clap, clap. However, although he was excited, Long Fei's brain was still extremely calm because he discovered that the mission notification hadn't sounded yet, which meant that his mission wasn't completed yet. Moreover, the woman in front of him was indeed very beautiful. Her beauty was suffocating, but she wasn't even as beautiful as the goddess in his dreams, not even 1,000th of her beauty. In comparison, Long Fei was much calmer. Long Fei said, "What are the limitations of being the king here?" The woman said, "There are no restrictions. You can't leave this place. You can't leave the people here." F***CK. Long Fei cursed in his heart and immediately said, "I'm sorry, but I have no interest in becoming the king. You should point me out a path out of the secret realm." He actually rejected it. Why did he refuse? What's he thinking? Whisper echoed in the hall. The woman's face changed. "You saved this country, and you are the king here. Do you want to turn your back on your people? My king." No, no, no. Don't make me sound so great. I'm not some great sage. I only saved you for a mission, and I never wanted to be king. Long Fei thought in his heart, "I'll teach you a tree for making me give up a large patch of forest. Do you think I'm stupid? Can't go out. If I can't get out, then what the heck am I supposed to do?" Long Fei was a person with principles. His principle was to not hang himself on a tree because there were too many women outside. The woman was silent for a moment, then said, "But you saved this country." Long Fei said, "You can treat me as a good person. If you are truly sorry, you can reward me with some of your country's treasures or something like that. I will not reject these things." The main hall was in an uproar. Greed. Despicable. You don't know how to appreciate favors. All in all, they just laughed at Long Fei for overestimating himself, and Long Fei was too lazy to bother with them. Blood Dragon Ancestor. Blood Dragon Ancestor. The Azure Dragon was stunned. When the seal appeared in Frozen End City, he had felt that this seal was very familiar. When he saw the seal, he felt a familiar feeling. Now he knew why. It was precisely because of the seal in front of him. Yuan Long had been here before. Boss must have been here before. The Azure Dragon Ancestor said with incomparable certainty, looking at the aura within the seal. He could sense that this aura was extremely familiar. It was the aura of his brother, the Blood Dragon. He is also one of the fighting generals of the Yuan Long. Naturally, Long Fei could not hear what he said, and Yan Huang Ancestor was the same. The Azure Dragon had said that. Long Fei had to walk his own path. His own strength needed to be awakened by himself. Step by step, bit by bit, there was no other way. Nor could he provide a shortcut, because there were no shortcuts in this world. There was only constant hard work. Long Fei looked at the gigantic seal and muttered, "It's another seal. How do I break this seal?" "This seal is several times higher than the one with the frozen seal. If you want to break this seal, I was wondering why there are so many strange sealess in the Tianmu continent, despite the fact that the Tianmu continent's plane being not high." Yen Huang ancestor shouted in anger. In the Sky Martial continent, compared to the Chaos realm, its plane of existence was very low. Take the seal in front of his eyes, for example. He had never seen such a complicated seal before. He had no idea. Long Fei said, "Ancestor, how is the power of the seal broken through? Theoretically speaking, how is it broken through?" Yen Huang ancestor said, "Last time when we fought Lei Mo, he said one sentence. Any formation in the world, as long as you have enough strength, you can shatter it. This is the case for formations and also for seal. As long as you have absolute strength, you can crush seal." Long Fei said, "Do you think I have that much power?" Yen Huang ancestor, "All right, I can just find the seal's eye and shatter it." The Yen Huang ancestor said, "I will first go and sense where the seal formation aperture is located." The idea moved and rushed in. Buzz. Just as the idea entered the ancient seal, his sea of consciousness suddenly exploded, and he cried out in pain, "It's too strong." The power in this seal is too strong. The moment his idea entered, it was strangled, and this force even followed along his idea's crazy counterattack. If not for the fact that he retreated quickly, the Yen Huang ancestor would have definitely suffered heavy injuries. "No, kid, this seal's level is too high. It's not something you can break through with your current ability." Yen Huang ancestor heaved a sigh of relief. Long Fei said, "Then what do we do? If I can't break this seal, I can't get out." "No way." Long Fei's eyes became firm, and he said, "No matter what, I have to break out of this seal. He's going to suppress us with his overwhelming strength, isn't he? All right." Long Fei's heart sank, unparalleled at level 5. "Open for me." Boom. A huge boom resounded within his body. Wu Shuang had leveled up to level 5, which meant that she had 32 times the attribute power. His body was filled with power of the metal dragon. "Open!" Long Fei shouted. The 8 dragons were enraged. The defensive power of the golden dragon was completely transformed into offensive power. At this moment, Long Fei held onto the dragon, Salyer tightly stared at the gigantic seal array, and said softly, "I still won't believe that I can't break your seal." Bam! He jumped on the spot. He leapt into the air, both hands holding onto his saber. He chopped down with his axe. Dragon slash! Shwa! The sky split open, and an incomparably thick energy slashed down, slashing onto the seal's array formation. Wong! A white light flashed within the seal formation, forming a strong halo of light. The powerful energy within the halo of light was immediately repelled back. Long Fei's power had just landed and was sent flying a few hundred meters away. Bang, bang, bang. His mind and consciousness seemed to be rolling on the ground. It was extremely hard to bear. F***CK. Long Fei scolded angrily. "I don't believe it." He moved his feet and quickly rushed out, chopping down from another corner. Just like before, he was once again sent flying. Again. Bam. Again. "Your father has gone crazy. I'm afraid of myself, but I don't believe that I can't break your seal formation." Long Fei became berserk, like a demon that was sealed, and every time he was sent flying, he crazily charged forward. Yen Huang ancestor said, "Brat, you can't do this." Long Fei acted as if he did not hear it. He kept charging forward. In a short 10 minutes, he had charged 100 times. At this moment, he couldn't even stand properly, and his face was a bit pale. His entire body was covered in blood, and he fell down heavily again and again. It was very uncomfortable. Shua, Long Fei took another step forward, landing in the air above the array, panting heavily as he said, "You still haven't broken through, right? If you don't break it, then continue to slash." As he spoke, a drop of blood dripped from his body. Drip! A clear and crisp sound came out as the blood droplet fell into the seal array, causing it to be absorbed. Long Fei did not notice all of this and fiercely slashed down. This time, he was not sent flying. The dragon salyer in his hand heavily slashed at the formation, and at this moment the formation crumbled as fresh blood gushed out of the cracks like a fountain. Long Fei's eyes turned cold. "What is this?" Yan Huang ancestor said. In an instant, all the power of the seal disappeared. One by one, they came out of the secret plane. One by one, they came out of the secret plane. Every disciple that walked out of the secret realm was filled with excitement, because with one more genius to break through to the mystic realm, the God Emperor Academy would have another fresh blood. However, a huge boom sounded out, and everyone was shocked. Suddenly, the 5-level secret territory's exit opened, and a youth covered in blood walked out. Long Fei. Almost everyone was shocked. The faces of all the clan elders changed, as one of the clan elders exclaimed out loud, he is still alive. Who is this person? How did you get injured like this? His whole body was covered in blood. Isn't this too embarrassing? What secret realm is this? Could it be from the Blood Sea secret realm? Ha ha ha. Many of the disciples that had broken through to the mystic realm began to laugh in pride. Their eyes were filled with playful contempt because Long Fei was slower than them, so he was weaker than them. Panu frowned. "Your life is pretty good, ah. Even the 5-level secret territory can't kill you." He thought that Long Fei was definitely going to die in the snow region, but he didn't expect that he would actually come out alive. Even though he was in a slightly sorry state, he was still alive. Being alive was enough to prove everything. "Name it." A statistics elder said. Long Fei didn't know whether or not he had met the criteria for the examination. Looking at the large group of disciples around him, he couldn't help but feel a little unconfident and said, "Southern Sky Region, Long Fei." As soon as his voice faded, the statistical elder did not hear it clearly. He asked again, "What did you say your name was?" The higher Long Fei's voice was, the more she said, "Southern Domain, Long Fei." "It's him. Boss, young Master Long." The crowd immediately burst into an uproar. Many people knew the name Long Fei, the Long Fei that was defeated by Pan Shao in one move. "Humph, I was just saying. He's in such a sorry state. No wonder he's a trash from the South Horizon region. He's lucky to be able to see the light of day." Many people started to mock him. Long Fei also could not be bothered. Towards these people who had ridiculed him, he did not need to take them to heart, because once they met, Long Fei would not let them off. Chen Tianfei and the other two ran over. Seeing that Long Fei was covered in blood, Man Tuoluo asked worriedly, "Are you all right?" With a simple sentence, she expressed the worry in her heart. Long Fei looked at her and laughed indifferently. "I'm fine." Chen Tianfei said, "Boss, I heard that the 10th Arena's secret realm has the highest level. It's a 3rd-level secret realm, right?" He had only heard of it. Long Fei also laughed along and said, "Then I really have to thank him, but, not to mention heavily injured, even if I had half a breath left, I would still be able to complete the next examination." Long Fei also laughed along and said, "Then I really have to thank him, but, not to mention heavily injured, even if I had half a breath left, I would still be able to complete the next examination." It's not too hard to crush those who go through the back door. Invigilator, are you going to abolish my qualification as well? Longface smiled playfully. Pan, who maintained the smile on his face, and said, "It won't. You are so outstanding. How can I abolish you? I was looking forward to your passing the examination." Longface said, "Aren't you afraid that I will trample all of Sky's separating clan?" Pan, who frowned slightly and laughed. "What is there to be afraid of? Because only the Sky-separating clan dares to step on people. No one has ever dared to do so." "Oh," Longface said, "how come I heard that Sky-separating clan was stomped so hard by the dragon race all those years ago that he didn't even dare to fart, and then he was stomped by Long family until he hid deep in the mountains and didn't dare to come out?" The surroundings went into an uproar. They all looked at Long Fei in shock. "He's just courting death. Brainless. This brat is so arrogant that he has no boundaries. If I were the Invigilator, I would have immediately abolished his qualification to take the examination. Let's see how arrogant he is. Is this person crazy?" They were all shocked by Long Fei's words. Sky-separating clan was like the sun in the sky. Who could resist it? Not long ago, it had spread that Pan, who possessed the Tong Tian power of Celestial, so to be able to take the place of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals meant that it was easy to do. He had the right to live and die, let alone a disciple taking the examination. Even an elder of a God Emperor Academy could kill him easily if he said so. There was no need to give any reason. Long Fei was actually so arrogant. Did he not want to live anymore? However, Long Fei had a completely different understanding from them. This way, it would only anger Pan, who to the extreme, and would only let him continue to assess himself, because in Pan, who's heart, he must think of a way to trample Long Fei to death. Indeed, this was what Pan, who was thinking. Arrogant. Let's see how long you can remain so arrogant, and how long you can stay in the arena. Let everyone in the world see you go against the Pan clan. Sky-separating clan could not just rely on Pan Sheng's title of Demon Slayer. He also needed heads. The head of the Long family. Pan, who laughed lightly. In the past, the dragon race was indeed powerful, and the Long family was also brilliant. But what about now? Are there any dragons in this world? Where is the dragon domain? In the dung heap? So what if you Long family? How many of you are there in such a large immortal domain? I'm afraid you're the only one. Pan, who laughed complacently. Brat, in the past it was only history, but now it is the way of the king, and now the Sky-separating clan is the way of the king. Understand. You definitely won't understand. After being defeated by our young lord in a single move and crushed like a dog, how can a weak cultivation like yours understand? And ruthlessly ridiculed Long Fei. The smell of gunpowder was overwhelming. Long Fei's eyes faintly darkened as he stared at Pan, who and said, "You're right, now is the way of the king." Then I ask that you, the great Invigilator, announce the examination for the second round. I will let you know what is called the way of the king. Long Fei was unable to refute. What he wanted to do now was to use his own strength to ruthlessly crush everything. The way of the king, right? This father will let you know what is called the way of the king. Pan, who smiled lightly and said, "Don't worry, I'll keep watch." And then Pan, who returned to his original position, asked the elders beside him and said, "How much time until the end of the first round of examination?" The elder replied, "There are still 10 minutes. This is the end. Those who don't pass the exam, all will be considered as losers." Pan, who said directly, he could not wait any longer, nor could he wait any longer. The Pan clan who dared to speak to him in such a manner, and speak to him in such a manner, could not help but wish they could crush Long Fei on the ground and make him unable to crawl back up. The elder shivered slightly and said, "Elder who? Just like that?" Without waiting for him to finish, Pan Hu shouted, "Did you not hear what I said? I told you to close the secret plane so that the first round of assessment would come to an end." Yes, sir. Pan Hu was the invigilator, so his words were in order. Not to mention, he still had a holy token question of God on him. Who dared to resist? Resisting from him was equivalent to resisting from the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals S. It was not something that a small clan elder like him could afford to offend. And then, buzz, buzz, buzz. 10 consecutive sounds rang out. The exam candidates who were still trying to break through the secret realm were all pushed out by a powerful force. They were pushed out from the exit. They had no idea what was happening. Isn't the examination still not over? Isn't the time not up yet? What's going on? No one gave an explanation. Pan Hu faintly said one sentence and said, "Next, we will proceed with the second round of the assessment, strength assessment. As of now, whoever can kill the demon beast in the dimensional realm in the shortest amount of time will get the qualification to pass. The result will be determined by how long it takes. All 10 realms will be held at the same time. In the first trial, 30,000 out of 100,000 disciples had entered the second round. The second round of the examination also involved time. Not only time, there was also strength, cultivation, and speed. More importantly, there was luck. In the 10-dimensional realms, Demon Beast could be summoned at random. It could be either a level 1 monster, or a level 5, level 6, or even a level 7/8 Demon Beast. Luck was also a very strong factor on the path of training. Pan, whose eyes stared at Long Fei, and said coldly, "Kid, let's see how long you can hold out for." "What did you say?" He passed. Qiu Wandao was so excited that he started laughing out loud. "Ha! The young master is indeed sharp. Even the 5-level secret territory cannot stop him. Amazing, amazing, truly amazing." The old man in green was also incomparably excited as he said, "Young master is indeed extraordinary. Even his 5-level secret territory was broken through. Old ghost, you can rest assured this time." Qiu Wandao laughed. "Once the 5-level secret territory is passed, the second round, the third round will definitely..." As he spoke to hear, the space between Qiu Wandao's brows tightened, and said, "If that sinister villain Pan who is able to do anything in the first round, then in the second round, the third round..." "No way." Qiu Wandao stood up and said, "I want to go take a look." The green-robed elder grabbed Qiu Wandao and said, "Old bastard, you don't need to go and cause trouble for the young master. If he knew that you had kneeled down to Pan Hu, he would probably go crazy." Also, before Master went into seclusion, he told the young master to take the examination by himself. He must know everything. Qiu Wandao replied, "I'm worried." The old man in green said, "Who can relax? We must believe in the young lord. He will definitely pass." Qiu Wandao said, "What if..." "You old ghost, what's the chance?" The elder scolded, "There is absolutely no mistake. The young lord will definitely shock everyone. Master's prophecy can't be wrong. Fourth, 8_8419/2357039. Pan Hai, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Pan Hai, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Pan Yu, 1 minute 17 seconds. The higher one's ranking was, the faster one would take the examination. The top 100 rankings were all from the sky-separating clan's Pan family, and not a single one of them took more than 2 minutes to achieve their second round of results. All of them took more than a minute. However, the secret plane space they entered was the same space. Cheating? Right. He was cheating, and it was so obvious. Pan, who was the invigilator, so he could decide who entered any mystic realm space assessment. Pan, who looked at all of the sky-separating clan disciples who had excellent results, and revealed a proud smile, and thought to himself, "Fight with me? You think you're worthy? Watch how I play you to death. At this moment, someone walked out from the spatial space, causing the time-counting elder's face to tremble. He said excitedly, "Time. 40 seconds. Break the record." Absolutely. It's him. He also broke the record in the first round. Panju walked out with a complacent smile on his face. While he was laughing complacently, he stared at Long Fei with cold contempt, as if saying, "Brat, watch how I trample you to death." The sky-separating clan's genius. Time used, 40 seconds. What does that mean? Isn't that too terrifying? Could it be that there's 3 chickens in the shed of the lucky guy? Impossible. It's impossible for the demon beast to be chickens. They are all demon beast-s. Even killing one would take a long time. 40 seconds is too short. The crowd burst into applause. They all admired Panju, and at the same time, they also wanted to kiss ass to the Pan family. Chen Tianfei disdainfully replied, "Ass-kissing brat, you're really annoying. This is clearly cheating. Do you take us for blind people? No one is in charge of God Emperor Academy." Man Tualuo said slightly, "The previous and current principals have all come during the first round of the assessment. It seems like they are still fighting, and in the end they had all left. I heard that they were stomped over by this invigilator." Long Fei's expression changed, and said, "The former principal, Old Qiu?" Man Tualuo said, "I also heard that Old Qiu even kneeled down to Pan, who, I'm not sure why." Cluck, cluck. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and immediately became displeased. Although he did not know what had happened, this matter definitely had something to do with him. Chun Tianfei was not happy. Isn't the Pan family too arrogant? God Emperor Academy is also the #1 academy in a mortal domain. How many days has it been? So it was taken over by the sky-separating clan. Man Tualuo said, "The influence of the #1 demon slayer is too big." Not mentioning Pan Sheng, just the sky-separating clan alone has many level geniuses. All the elders in the Thunder Mountains have all become elders of the God Emperor Academy. Next Long Fei. Next Long Fei. The moment he said that, everyone turned to look at him. Pan, who looked at him with a complacent sneer. Long Fei walked forward with a calm expression without any ripples. Pan, who smiled and said, "Long Fei, I'll give you a chance to beg me. As long as you kneel down and beg me, I'll—" Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei sneered coldly and said, "I'll give you a chance to beg me. As long as you kneel down and kowtow to me 100 times, I'll make your sky-separating clan not look so bad. Remember, you need to kowtow 100 times, not a single one less." Pan, whose eyes turned sinister as he shouted, "Kid, you are courting death." To dare speak to Invigilator like that, other than Long Fei, no one else could. Many of the surrounding disciples looked at him with cold smiles. This was especially true for the disciples of the Pan clan. All of them stared at Long Fei teasingly. "Brat, just wait for your death. You really think of yourself as a root. He's just a target for our Pan family to play with. You overestimate yourself." Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Don't waste your breath. Activate the 10th demon beast space. Isn't it all prepared for me?" Pan, who sneered and said, "It's good that you know it, so—" Long Fei interrupted him once again. "So don't be blind anymore. Hurry up and start. I want to slap your sky-separating clan's face right now." Cluck, cluck, cluck. Pan, whose face was filled with anger as he shouted, "Open the 10th space of the demon beast." An elder walked forward, and the space opened. Long Fei stood at the spatial entrance, stared at Pan, who and sneered. 40 seconds, right? Fatty, read the seconds." Finished. Long Fei rushed into the demon beast space. "Seconds? What do you mean?" Chun Tianfei said anxiously. Space number 9 is filled with 5-level monster. Then the demon beast in space number 10. Boss, you have to be careful. Man Tualuo held onto Xiaoying and said in a low voice, "This Pan family is too much." Pan, who coldly glanced at them, and said, "This is the result of going against the Pan family. I have given you a chance before, and if you still insist on going with the kid from Long family, then this will not be the case." Chen Tianfei said in disdain, "If you have the guts, come at me. Am I afraid of you?" Fatty, whose eyes turned sinister as his killing intent turned cold. In another place, inside the demon beast space, the instant Long Fei stepped into the space of the demon beast, the 3-level 6 demon beast pounced on him. Without any hesitation, the idea moved, "Old devil gravity, get out!" Boom, boom, boom. With 3 loud bangs, the 3-level demon beast were killed in less than 3 seconds. Long Fei tightened his grip on the 3 demon beast. Wang. At this moment, the spatial gate opened. At this moment, when Long Fei walked out of the demon beast space, everyone was dumbstruck. The statistical elder looked at the time and faintly said, 3 seconds. Everyone was surprised. Pan, whose brain was so twisted that he couldn't think straight and couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Space number 10 is broken? How could he be so fast? What are you doing? When you go in, you will come out. Could it be that you were kicked out by the demon beast?" Didn't the demon beast space say that killing all the demon beast won't open the door? Did he kill demon beast? Or is it that he got lucky and blew up? Are there no demon beast inside? The surrounding people all started to suspect. However, even those elders who had calmed down knew clearly that it was impossible for the 10th demon beast to not have any demon beast in it. But how did Long Fei do it? This was too unbelievable. Long Fei stared at Pan, who in disdain, "Do you know what it means to slap your face? So what if your sky-separating clan is cheating? It's only been 40 seconds. Is it that bad? Is it that amazing? I will slap you until you can't find the north." Long Fei said it out loud, because he was truly very unhappy. Cheating? Even if he cheats, I will still crush him. To crush 40 seconds in 3 seconds, what kind of concept was that? It was hard to imagine. The faces of those people from the sky-separating clan burned, and they felt incomparable discomfort. The demon beast in Dimension 1 was completely different from the demon beast in Dimension 10. If they were in space number 10, they would probably lose their lives there. How could they even talk about completing the exam? Pan Ju suddenly clamored, saying, "Humph, why are you being so arrogant? Did you kill the demon beast inside? I'm afraid that you are so scared that your legs have gone limp and you have escaped, right? You're right. I don't believe that anyone can kill 3 demon beasts in 3 seconds, even if it's 3 chickens. The way I see it, you're the one cheating." Morong Tian also quickly stepped forward and said in a loud voice, "I suggest disqualified him. God Emperor Academy does not need this kind of disciple who cheats." This was a chance to hug someone's thigh. He absolutely could not miss it. Next, a few disciples started to clamor. The people from Long family are all shameless and despicable. If they can't pass the exam, they will cheat. I'm afraid the first round of the exam is also cheating. This kind of person with corrupted morals is not fit to enter the God Emperor Academy. You're right. He will be disqualified from the exam. The Pan family was in the mainstream now. The reason why he was able to hug this big tree was to keep up with the situation. He would definitely have plenty of good days in the future. Pan, who laughed complacently and said, "Long Fei, are you cheating?" Chun Tianfei exploded and said angrily, "I cheated for 18 generations of your ancestors. Why would our boss need to cheat? You can't come out without killing all of the demon beasts in the demon beast space. You've been slapped in the face by my boss. Why don't you just say you cheated? Why don't you go to the heavens? Pan, who laughed. If he didn't cheat, then he proved it to me. Chun Tianfei said angrily, a proof? You mean the proof that someone is not called sky-separating clan? Why do you need my boss to prove it? Do you think you are? Pan, who was not angry. Instead, he had a playful smile on his face as he said, if I can't prove it, then I'm cheating. Why are you asking me? Based on the fact that I am this time's Invigilator, is that enough? Can't prove it's cheating? What kind of logic was this? This was embarrassing for Long Fei. Pan, whose complacent mouth made Long Fei exceptionally unhappy, and he sneered. 3 seconds of face smacking isn't enough, is it? Sure. Then take a good look. Long Fei was already prepared. He was just worried that Pan who would use this move. Boom! A head full of fresh blood and burning hot level 6 demon beast was taken out from the space ring S by Long Fei. However, the top of his head was a mess of flesh and blood, and he had been killed instantly by a heavy punch. The entire audience suddenly shook and instantly calmed down. Long Fei growled, "Is it good now? Still unhappy? Floating life. Table of contents. No windows?" A++. The idea moved, and another demon beast took out and heavily smashed onto the ground. And now, boom, another demon beast's corpse smashed out. Long Fei jumped onto the corpse and looked down from above. He stared at Pan, who with cold eyes, and sneered. Satisfying? Chapter 18_8419/23574041. Face smacking had to be accurate. An attack had to be ruthless. Face smacking had to be accurate. An attack had to be ruthless. Taking the chance was like slapping him in the face. 1 is not enough. Then 100. He smoked so much that even his mother couldn't recognize him. 3 seconds to cheat. What about now? 3-level demon beast had just been killed, and there was still someone who dared to say that they cheated. The tyrannical aura on Long Fei's body was released, suppressing the entire audience. Everyone was extremely shocked in their hearts, and it was not only because of Long Fei's time. This was also because of the demon beast in the 10th space. How could this kind of demon beast be used for assessment? Isn't this playing to the point of death? Every disciple of the Pan family had a burning expression on their face. The demon beast they met in the demon beast space were all low-leveled 1 demon beast. It was simply not comparable to Long Fei at all. It felt like the difference between heaven and earth. Who would have thought that Long Fei would actually bring out the demon beast's corpse from the demon beast space? Pan, who never expected that this slap by Long Fei would be so unbearable, his fists clenched under his sleeves, his face extremely gloomy. Long Fei coldly laughed. "Invigilator, am I still cheating?" Pan, who gritted his teeth until it made a cracking sound. Long Fei laughed. "Why aren't you speaking? Didn't those who like to mock and shout just now say that I was cheating? Call me one more now. Morom Tion, go kiss ass again. No, continue shouting. Sky-separating clan? Hee hee, space number 1 still lasts 40 seconds. What sky-separating clan? How arrogant. Laughable, truly laughable. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed loudly. Qin Tianfei also laughed out loud. Boss is mighty. The mighty Long family. Just like that. Ha ha ha. Qin Tianfei released the anger in his heart and looked at the surrounding disciples of the Pan clan, unable to say a single word. Long Fei's gaze turned as he stared at Pan, who said, "Long family can crush your sky-separating clan once and crush him twice. You understand?" Very arrogant. When he said those words, the anger in Pan, whose heart completely exploded, his eyes flashed with endless killing intent as he stared at Long Fei, and said solemnly, "Brat, don't be too arrogant." It was his turn to be angry. Long Fei had a playful smile on his face as he said, "How many times have I told you? This is how arrogant I am. This is how arrogant I am." Cluck, cluck, cluck. Pan, whose teeth were about to break, he wanted to tear Long Fei to shreds right now, to be able to crush the entire Pan clan once, and then twice. How arrogant was that? Back then, when the Long family crushed the Pan clan, there were also dozens of experts who took action. It was just Long Fei alone. As if he had suffered a great humiliation, Pan, who said solemnly, "Let's see how long you can continue being so arrogant for." The third test begins. At this moment, Long Fei slightly said, "Wait." Pan, whose forehead turned sinister, and said, "Is there anything else?" Long Fei said, "Invigilator, don't you have to explain why the level 6 demon beast appeared?" The highest level demon beast for the examination was the 3-rate monster and beast, and none of them could pass 3 levels. If they passed the 3-rate monster and beast, it would be considered a violation of the rules. Not only 3-rate monster and beast, even the level 6 demon beast had appeared. What was he trying to do? Are you joking with the lives of the examinees? Pan, who sneered and said, "Explanation? How do you want to explain that?" Long Fei asked, "Why would the level 6 demon beast appear in the demon beast space?" "Don't tell me that you don't know about it as an invigilator. Level 6 demon beast. Are you trying to take our exam candidate's life as a joke?" He did not think of an explanation. However, he wanted the sky-separating clan to lose all of its reputation, so he decided to start from this small injustice. Long Fei continued, "The level 6 demon beast is me. If it was anyone else, would they die inside? And all of these disciples have extraordinary talent. They came to God Emperor Academy to become a demon slayer, wanting to contribute to the Sky Martial Continent. But what about you? You use such a high-level demon beast. Shouldn't you explain yourself?" Many disciples looked towards Pan, who, just as Long Fei had said, they came to God Emperor Academy to become a devil slayer and wanted to contribute to the Sky Martial Continent. If they met with the level 6 demon beast, then they began to feel displeased in their hearts. "I have to explain. Are you making fun of our lives? What kind of invigilator is this? Who cares if I didn't pass the examination earlier? What I met was a 4-rating monster and beasts. Why can't we enter the first demon beast space test? And only the disciples of your sky-separating clan can enter, Master Invigilator. Shouldn't you explain?" His voice slowly rose up. Those who hadn't passed the exam in particular felt that they had been treated unfairly. The faces of the elders of the God Emperor Academy all darkened as they looked towards Pan, who, this assessment was extremely unfair. But all of this was arranged by Pan, who they did not dare to say anything. Pan, who smiled slightly and said, "I am the invigilator, and I am the king of this examination. I am the heavens. How about this explanation?" Ha ha ha. After he finished speaking, he even laughed arrogantly. Long Fei also laughed, laughing even more happily than him. Pig teammate. At first, it was just some disciples who had failed the assessment, but now there were many disciples who had passed the assessment and started clamoring. These people were all hot-blooded youths. They were young and frivolous. They were cynical. When Pan, who said this, they felt even more unhappy. The situation became uncontrollable. They were all questioning Pan, whose face ashened. He seemed to realize that his words and actions just now were wrong, but he wanted to be arrogant and make everyone afraid of the sky-separating clan. Immediately, Pan, whose face darkened, and shouted, "Where are the God Emperor Academy's guards?" "Huh!" He shouted in unison. Pan, who said angrily, "If you dare say even half a word more, you will be disqualified. If anyone dares to take another step, go straight to the point." This action instantly suppressed the examinees who were shouting. However, The anger in their hearts soared to 1,000 feet high. Once this anger was rebuilt and crushed, it would explode with a bang. Long Fei laughed in his heart. I finally found what's called a pig teammate. One step wrong, one step wrong. Long Fei looked at Pan, who had an ugly expression, and thought to himself, I was wondering how strong you were, but to think that you're actually just a weak person. At this moment, Long Fei said, loudly, we request for fair treatment. His voice was like a fuse. Chun Tianfei shouted hysterically, request for fair treatment and the abolition of Invigilator. Requesting fair treatment. Abolish the Invigilator. Requesting fair treatment. It exploded. Their hearts exploded with anger. All of them were pressing towards Pan, whose face changed greatly, and he shouted angrily, you want to die, right? Second, 8_8419/23574042. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, Sky separating clan? Play with me? I won't be able to toy with you. It's rioting. It's rioting. Head President, what should we do? This year's examinees are all in a frenzy. The chaos in the examination grounds spread to the God Emperor Academy Elders' courtyard a few minutes later. Headmaster, quickly send people to suppress them. Go save Elder Pan, who, otherwise he will be beaten to death. Are these examinees crazy? Immediately send people. An elder shouted. At this time, Zhang Tianai said slightly, Pan, who has a holy token question of God on him, he represents Heavenly Hall of Immortals. Even if it was a riot, he can withstand it. God Emperor Academy cannot send anyone to suppress it. In addition, Zhang Tianai said, since the creation of the God Emperor Academy, there has never been a riot assessment. Why did it appear this time? This means that some elders went overboard and provoked the wrath of the masses. Pan, who is the Invigilator, he must take responsibility for this matter. Zhang Tianai immediately followed. God Emperor Academy is not allowed to send anyone to suppress them. This is my order. The more this riot was suppressed, the more counterproductive it would be. What he needed to do now was not to suppress them, but to pacify them. Moreover, if the Pan clan were to be too arrogant during this period of time, they would need to show off their skills and make them understand that controlling God Emperor Academy was not that simple. As soon as Zhang Tianai finished speaking, the expressions of a few elders slightly changed, and they said, Principal, this isn't good. Since this is the God Emperor Academy's assessment, shouldn't we protect the reputation of the Academy? Furthermore, that is Elder Pan, who, if something were to happen to him, how are we going to take responsibility? Zhang Tianai asked, responsible? To whom? Why should we be held responsible when he's the one behind it? You can talk to me after you figure that out. At this moment, starlight flashed in the sky as a figure landed in the courtyard. Star Soul's summoner. Dean Song, why is there a riot in this exam? He immediately questioned Zhang Tianai. Zhang Tiany's expression was somewhat unhappy and said, Why would there be a riot? I should be asking you Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, right? It has always been our God Emperor Academy who presided over the examinations. So why did the Heavenly Hall of Immortals send the Invigilator this year to question me now that there's been a riot? Then I have to ask you, why did you send Pan, who, as Invigilator? Why is there a holy token question of God on him? The face of the Star Soul's summoning emissary darkened. What did you say? The holy token question of God is also on him. The holy token question of God represented the supreme, transcendent Hall of Immortals, a symbol of identity. It was even more so the majesty of a heavenly. God Emperor Academy was angry. God Emperor Academy was angry. The Heavenly Hall of Immortals was also angry. How did a good exam turn into a riot? When Zhang Tianai rushed over, the situation had gone out of control. He had been beaten into a human shape. His butt was covered with feces, and his face was covered with feces. The Pan clan disciples also suffered a similar fate. Zhang Tiany's voice sank. Everyone quiet down. His voice was filled with an imposing aura. The cultivation level of his golden immortal rank burst out, forcefully suppressing all the sounds in the area. Zhang Tianai walked forward and said, "I am the great principal of the God Emperor Academy. Now that the examination has ended, I apologize to everyone and hope that everyone can calm down." Finished. Zhang Tianai bowed 90 degrees. It was also at this time the entire audience gradually quietened down, and all of them were completely convinced. The principal, who was so high up in the academy, actually apologized to them. This had a huge impact on their hearts. Long Fei also shook and said, "This principal is not bad. If he suppressed it again, it would completely collapse." At this time, Pan, who crawled up from the ground and shouted angrily, "Zhang Tianai, I order you all to kill these rebel bastards. Kill them all." At this moment, Zhang Tianai was enraged and slapped him across the face, shouting, "Pan Hu, you have to take responsibility for everything that has happened today. Men, suppress him." This slap had to be done, be it public or private. Zhang Tianai had to fight, otherwise he would not be able to calm the anger of the masses. Pan, whose eyes bulged out as he stared at Zhang Tianai, "You dare hit me? You know who I am? You dare to hit me? Even an elder of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals would not dare to touch me, since you, a mere principal of a God Emperor Academy, actually dare to hit me. Zhang Tianai, it is not too late for you to kneel down and apologize, or else, pa!" Zhang Tianai sent another slap flying over, directly slapping Pan, who flat on the ground, and said loudly, "Take him away from me." Too arrogant. No matter what, he was still the principal of the God Emperor Academy. All of the disciples were startled and began to admire him more and more. "Wait!" Star Spirit Messenger shouted. Pan, whose vision became blurry from the two slaps, but when he saw Star Spirit Messenger, he immediately became angry again and said, "Star Soul Master, quickly kill these people. These people all want to rebel." Star Spirit Messenger's voice sank as he asked, "Let me ask you, do you have a holy token question of God with you?" Pan, whose face darkened, and his body couldn't help but tremble. He could only give Pan Sheng to him as a precaution, so he absolutely could not use it carelessly. However, not only did he use it now, it had even been stolen. This was something he could not afford, and would even implicate Pan Sheng. Pan, who said with a trembling voice, "The holy token question of God. It was snatched away by these disciples. They all want to rebel. Master Star Spirit, the holy token question of God is on them. Kill all of them, and we will definitely be able to find it." The space between Star Spirit Messenger's eyebrows tightened, stared at him, and said, "Losing the holy token question of God. The result is..." He did not continue, and then his gaze swept across the idea on his body. The reason why Star Spirit Messenger's power was different from the average warriors was because they had cultivated a type of star power. This kind of power was similar to the power of Holy Token Question of God, so they could sense the location of Holy Token Question of God. At this moment, Long Fei's mind tensed up. He felt an idea sweep past his body. A few seconds later, Star Spirit Messenger's brows tightened. "No." Then he tried again, but the result was the same. "No," Star Spirit Messenger slightly said, who took the holy token question of God and handed it over as soon as possible, otherwise the consequences will be much worse than what you imagine. "Nothing will happen to him if I bring it out now." Everyone looked at each other. What is a holy token question of God? I've never seen it before. That's right, the holy token question of God knows nothing. How can we take it out? Chun Tianfei was also at a loss. My lord, we have never seen the holy token question of God before. It must be that the invigilator hid himself and wanted to steal the holy token question of God away. Just say that we stole it. Exactly. You're right. Immediately, it caused a lot of resonance. Star Spirit Messenger's eyes darkened as he stared at Pan, whose face turned pale white, and explained. Master, I really did not take it for myself. They really took it away. Star Spirit Messenger took out a holy token question of God from his chest pocket and said, "It is precisely this kind of medallion. Any one of you have seen it before. Take it out." Everyone looked at the holy token question of God in his hands. The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back, and he said with a slight smile, "Another holy token question of God. Could it be that all Star Spirit Messenger carry a holy token question of God with them?" Long Fei thought about this, and his heart darkened. If that's the case, then the holy token question of God are much easier to deal with. He wanted to unlock the seal on the gravity troll as soon as possible and release all of his strength. Then he would have to get more holy token question of God. Hand it over quickly. The Star Spirit Messenger's voice was filled with anger. Everyone still shook their heads. He was too flustered just a moment ago, so no one paid any attention to it. Furthermore, Fatty Chun was extremely careful. How could he possibly have been discovered by anyone at this moment? Murong Tian suddenly rushed out and said, "Lord Star Spirit, this riot was instigated by Long Fei. I think his goal was the holy token question of God on Elder Pan whose body. He stole the holy token question of God. It didn't matter if it was true or not, as if Murong Tian had pushed everything to Long Fei. Even if it wasn't, he would still be taken away to be investigated by the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals." Chun Tianfei immediately became angry. "Murong Tian, you King talk again for this daddy. My boss hasn't moved an inch since the beginning." Not waiting for him to finish, Star Spirit Messenger moved and instantly landed beside Long Fei. Buzz. His strength was extremely strong. Furthermore, he had an aura that was familiar to Long Fei. Long Fei's heart tightened as he thought to himself, "Senior E. When he was in the Sky Soul Village, there were 3 Star Spirit emissaries that was outside the courtyard. Long Fei could sense it clearly, and one of them was him." Long Fei's eyes darkened. Star Spirit Messenger saw the killing intent in Long Fei's eyes. Staring at him, he coldly snorted and said, "You're that trash of a kid from Long family?" His gaze was also filled with killing intent. Last time, he did not find Long Fei, causing him to be scolded by Gu Wuji. Long Fei also felt the killing intent, and the corner of his mouth drew back as he smiled. "You're that dog that Gu Wuji raised? How dare you?" http:// The Star Spirit Messenger was furious. The strong, imposing aura rushed into Long Fei's sea of consciousness, wanting to crush him into pieces. Long Fei's expression tensed, and in his heart he shouted, "Golden Dragon Protector." It was also at this time, Blood Dragon Ancestor of the War Pet Space shouted angrily, "Boss, let me out. I'll kill him." Chapter 5. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2357045. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.